Okay, I'm going to give my 2 cents on your thrush deal here. One reason so many people have had such bad thrush, and they've come up with so many new thrush medications, is because we trimmed the heels out of our horses, and so they just wore that. They wore their frog off, and it was unhealthy. And so that's one reason why we had thrush. And, oh, there's another lie. Don't touch the frog. Don't trim your frog. Just take off a few little tags. Don't trim it. That doesn't work either. So once you start growing the heels and you actually get the frog to grow, give it some room so it's not being pummeled, then that's going to help you with your thrush a lot too. And another thing, let me talk to you about copper sulfate. The kind that is in Copper Tox is nasty, icky, garbage, and never works. And it is toxic and it's really nasty. But this stuff here is non-toxic. It's ionized copper sulfate and it's blue. And now this is called Hoofplex, but the new brand, it's the same stuff, is called New Hoof Concentrate. Let me tell you what, they don't make any money if your horse gets healed, but they lose money if cows don't get healed. This stuff, and if you're in another country, find out what your dairy farmers use for foot baths and use that in a spray bottle on your horse, because that is the best stuff for thrush, because they have real problems with cattle in dairy barns. So they have a regular foot bath when those cows, but since I bought this stuff, I have never had any problems with thrush. Anyway, this is blue. It's ionized copper sulfate. You put it in your swimming pool. Those blue crystals, you put them in your swimming pool. That's what I did. I would stuff the central sulcus, and then I would just spray it and saturate the cotton. I'll tell you something I've done when I was trimming some other horses. You know, a lot of times around here, they get deep central sulcus thrush, and the people won't clean their feet or nothing, you know. I would clean it up as good as I could and really clean out that central sulcus, get the dirt out, and just take a syringe and wash it out, and sometimes even do a peroxide thing. And then I would take and stuff it with cotton, and I would saturate it with this stuff, and I might be gone 3 months. And I'd come back and it'd be all healed up, and I could still see traces of the blue stuff in the feet working. Something I found out, they made this stuff for horses too. They put it diluted in a quart bottle and sold it for $12. And then they'd sell the same stuff in a little bitty bottle, 8 ounces, for $12. What'd I pay for it? I paid for this $35 a year and a half ago, before they changed their name to New Hoof. Now you can get it like at Valley Vet for $35 or so. Or no, for $40, I think. So we're going to do a hoof evaluation on Anita Rasmussen's horse, because she has a horse that she's had a lot of problems with, a lot of abscesses over the years. And am I right, Anita? Is that right? You told me your horse is abscessed in the winter and different things like that. Is that not correct? This is where we talk about accountability, and we don't just talk about victories here, and we don't just talk about, oh, I trimmed my horse and in a couple days I had all these great results and hallelujah. And then when people come and they have problems and maybe we don't even know what they are, you know, or why the horse is reacting that way or anything like that, we're not just going to go, gee, I guess I'll just sweep you under the rug. Because let me tell you right now, there's a lot of sweeping under the rug going on, to where people only talk about their successes and their victories, and they don't really want to talk about people's problems. We want to know, when a person trims a horse and that horse gets sore, if we can, we want to know why. Was it the trim? Let me tell you what, there are some trims out there. I knew it was the trim, and when I was applying those trims, it was the trim, and therefore it was the trimmer. You see what I'm saying? And anybody can make a horse sore, but then you have situations where a horse can just get sore because their feet aren't right yet, you know, and things are moving around as well too. But we are not going to go into that transition of months and months and months. But sometimes horses are going to have problems. They're going to need some support and different things like that. Posts by Anita Rasmussen. Okay, so here's Anita's story. She says, "Hi everyone. My name is Anita. I live in Denmark, and I have a mare named Zora. Zora is 21 years old, and I have had her for about 9 years. We have tried many different farriers and trimmers over the years. I never considered that they could trim her in a wrong way, but Zora is a fearful horse, and in my experience, those old farriers was a bit too old-fashioned in the way they treated her. One farrier actually hit her with a rasp once. So that is the reason I started using trimmers. They were way better at handling her behavior, but I still never really looked at how they trimmed her, and I didn't think Zora had any problems. But then I got this friend, and we started using the same trimmers, and her horses would always have problems. So we tried a couple of different trimmers, but nothing worked for her, but I still thought Zora was fine. Then we found a vet who also was a certified AANHCP trimmer, and we loved her. And we participated in one of her clinics to learn a maintenance trim so we could trim our horses in between her visits. And I thought everything was really fine, but I did think it was really weird that she would compliment my work even though I had not trimmed Zora. You know, this kind of stuff goes on all the time. My friend still had problems with her horses, and one day in November 16th, she showed me Linda's YouTube channel, and we were hooked. And I started trimming Zora myself. I only trimmed her for a couple of months due to me being very pregnant, but I saw very good results. Now I can't wait to get started again because they really are a mess after not being trimmed for many months. Also, Zora has a problem with her tendons in both front legs. They are too tight, and I was told a lot of exercise would help her. But the last couple of times I have tried to start riding her again, she would become lame. And now I see how much her hooves are also affecting her tendons, and I really hope I can help her and maybe ride her again. Best regards, Anita and Zora." And we can all tell Anita that we have all had these same and similar problems. So then, you know, this was her story. She posted pictures. Let's take a look at Zora. Bless her heart. See, and I could even tell from here that she should have way more substantial heel back here, supporting her legs. You know, yeah, you're right, Anita. It is a hoof problem is causing the tendon problem. You can see that there's a lot of periopal skin here. Okay, now remember what I was showing you earlier about the periopal skin, how when the heels are trimmed out, how the periopal skin will stretch to take up the space that should have been supplied by the heel buttress and the wall in the heel supporting the coronary band up in the air and supporting the cartilage. And well, let's look at this foot here. See the periopal skin in here? So how stretched it is? See how this kind of squares off? Remember, I was telling you at the first of the class how the cartilage is, all this is part of your foot. Remember? Foot doesn't end right here. Oh, and thank you, Anita, for trimming the hairline. See there, it's very important that you can see the hairline. But her bulb, you can see the back of her foot and her bulb right here. See there, that shouldn't be like that. Okay, all this heel here should push this all up and support the coronary band and even bring this foot back to being a little bit bigger back here. And then release this cartilage here so that it's relaxed and the foot back here is the correct size. Let's look at the other side. Oh, wow, here you can really see it. What I explained was how the bulb of the horse should not be sticking outside the hoof capsule. And when the heels are gradually trimmed out, see this piece of wall here should be growing clear up here. That shouldn't even be there like that. When the heel gets trimmed out, which happened to your horse through the trimmers and probably some through the farriers, then it dumps this bulb out the back of the foot. So here again, we see that the hoof capsule, the foot is not in the hoof capsule. The hoof capsule has been trimmed off and the heels are here when they should be clear back here and supporting this cartilage. And see the squareness of it here? The bulb and the cartilage is not squared, but this is how it can take this. It can take on this look when the heels are trimmed out and the cartilage is being pulled down. So we see that going on in this foot. We see too that there's some leverage right here in the side of the toe by the crease. Now, one thing that we do see that's nice that this horse doesn't have a problem with is we do not see any severe hoof wall jamming. See how nice the hairline looks? So you've got a good thing going there, Anita. So this is the right front. Look at how wide the periopal and the bulb skin is. See there? Okay, that is not frog skin. Now, here's the thing. You all are going to have to learn the difference between frog skin and periopal skin, because you can mistake the two for one another. But this is periopal skin, and it should not be any wider than this right here, but it's stretched clear down to here. When you trim the heel out, well, that periopal is attached to the top of that buttress up there, right? So when you're trimming the heel out and it's being pulled down and getting trimmed out forward, it pulls this periopal skin and stretches it clear around the side of the hoof, disguises what's going on. She's got a great hairline. And another thing that's going for you is right in here, your hairline is straight right in here. So there isn't a lot of damage going on in the cartilage right here to where it's severely pulled down under here. Now, this is nice here too. You don't see any jamming up in here. But what you do see is that this pillar on this side is long and forward. So that is something that could be addressed right there. I want you to remember this for later, okay, because I have another letter from Anita about this horse being sore after she trimmed her. And that's why I picked her, because like I said, we don't just talk about, oh, I trimmed and it was so great and yay. We see here these pillars did need addressed. But anyway, that's one of the feet there. Here's the other foot. This is where the mapping comes in, that it will start helping to get this foot symmetrical. See, this toe is high and long here, right here. And so that's going to pull, you know, if you get like that, see how the horse is wearing to the side here? She's rolling over on her toe right there. Okay, now these heels. Now here's your periopal skin. Your periopal skin should only be about that wide, but it's stretched down to here. See there? Your heel, this heel only comes up to about right here. Now, ideally, what you want here, there's your hairline right there. Ultimately, you're going to want your heels probably about that much longer. Do you remember, did you measure your heels from the hairline to the end of the buttress? 2 inches. This is something that I have to teach on, and that is the difference between a true 2-inch heel and a false 2-inch heel. You have to learn when the heels are trimmed out of a horse. When I first started restoring the heels to my horse, I did not know any of this. Here's your heel buttress. You know how when in the mapping, what we do, we find where the little hairs grow right here and would start to go up. And then we go down the buttress and we measure right to there. And that's 2 inches. Now, she says this is 2 inches. Okay, but we already know from looking at the side of the foot that the heel is trimmed out of the foot even now, right? But the horse has 2 inches. You see how this could get confusing? That's because the heel has gone forward, and on the hoof capsule, here we go. Okay, there's your hoof capsule. Let's say from here, here's your hoof capsule. Now, your heel from here to here is 2 inches. But as the heel is trimmed out, now, when you trim out heels, it takes off on different manifestations. Okay, it takes on different forms and shapes. Not everyone is the same. When we need to get a collection together of different forms that the feet take on when the heels are trimmed out. But when you're trimming these heels out, and this hairline is kind of being pulled down, sometimes it really doesn't get pulled down. Like, okay, when they do the 30-degree hairline trim, that's like that, right? Then that pulls this hairline down to there, all right? But a lot of times you can trim the heel out without actually lowering the hairline very much. And what is happening is, as the heel is being trimmed out, the periopal skin, okay, let's pretend that's your periopal skin right there. Here's your, it would just have a very small bub, because all that's supposed to cover is the coronary band, the width of the coronary band groove about. So what happens is, sometimes when these heels are trimmed out, as they're being shortened, this periopal skin stretches down like this. The hairline doesn't go down. They're not doing that kind of a trim. But they're trimming out the heels, and the periopal skin is stretching here, getting wider. But that's not all that's happening. At the same time, this cartilage that's up here is being pulled down and pulled down like this. Slowly, you're trimming out this back part of the wall. You see that? That periopal skin, it's just stretching in here like this. Let's say my hairline is right here, but I'm this far forward. I can measure from here down to here, and I can still have 2 inches of heel. Do you see that? I can still seems like I have 2 inches of heel, but is that heel? No, it's not heel. Now what you have to do is you have to restore this foot and grow all that wall up here back that was trimmed out right up here. In this case, what you're doing, instead of, when you do the mapping, measuring from here to here, you come to right here and you find the collateral groove exit right here, and you're going to measure from here to here. See that? And what you're going to do is you're going to be growing, you're going to measure here. You want this to be 1 inch at least. See, this is 2 inches, right? So where's the center? Right about there. Look how long that is. This is how much heel you're going to have to grow here. As you start growing this right here, and if you're trimming the bars correct, well, you just let it grow and quit trimming it. See, the problem is we keep trimming this thinking it's a heel. So from right in here, you just start letting this grow right here. And when I first started, I was measuring here, and I was measuring here, over here. I think I was doing 1 inch here, and like, I can't remember if I was doing 2 inches or 1.5 inches over here. I was doing a totally different thing, but whatever it was I was doing, it worked really well. I was letting around the side grow, because you want to let all this grow, because it needs to grow and replace all this that got trimmed out. And when you first start growing this, you won't think it's growing. You know why? Because it's not growing that way. It has to grow this way. And it has to push all this periopal and push the coronary band up and support it right there. And as soon as it grows this way, and then this won't even be there anymore, you're going to have real heel. See, and this is too, look here, her bulbs are just right on the ground. That's bulb there. And right here, you know what this is? That is the frog stay. She's had deep central sulcus thrush clear up into the frog stay up here. It should have this much heel here and then this much frog in that horse. But do you understand what I mean about how the hoof has to grow, but it's growing up this way? And it has to push everything up this way. So you're going to think, oh, my heels aren't growing. Well, how long do you think it's going to take to push and grow heel up that pushes up this way? It takes quite a while. So this is one thing we see is that they trimmed the heels out of this horse. Now, here's the bad thing. If, Anita, if you don't understand what's going on here, so you could measure from here to here, and it could be 2 inches. Then let's say you get a little growth here. Because see, okay, this is where hoof wall jamming actually becomes beneficial. Because you have to allow the hoof wall here to grow beyond the sole so that the weight will push the wall up this way. The growth will go this way and push the growth this way. Do you understand? From here to here, how much is that? 3/4 inch from here to here? Okay, but you told me that from here to here is 2 inches. Is that not correct? From here, right here, we're going to divide that in half. Right there, that's 1 inch. You have about 1/2 inch of heel from here to here. But are you saying you have measured it from here to here? Oh, it's run forward. Okay, it's run forward. But let's go back and look at something here. It isn't run forward that bad. See there? When we talk about run forward heels, this isn't run forward like we think of a lot of heels. Ultimately, what you want, Michelle, is a correct heel. An anatomically and structurally correct heel. And I think that's something we need to go through more again. Maybe we'll do that on the next webinar. I'll really go into the anatomy and structure of that heel so you understand it. And we'll cover this periopal thing again. So, Anita, your heel is not run forward like we often think of heels being run forward. When I think of a heel being run forward, okay, see, your angle in these tubules is not bad. Yeah, it's hard to find the top of the heel because it goes like this. Watch. Okay, here's your hoof capsule, and it goes like this. There's your heel. There's your hoof capsule. It's right in here somewhere. Right in here. Okay, see, this is the thing. You're going to have to watch the first part of this webinar to maybe understand this a little better. Because I covered what goes on here with the bulb and how when the heel is not grown in correctly. See what we want this heel area to do? We want it to grow up like this. So your coronary band is like this. This is kind of what the foot is like. There's your foot. There's your inner foot. And remember that your foot extends up there. Okay, so here's your foot. Okay, now we're going to look at this right here. Okay, your heel buttress should be clear up like this. See there? That should be the heel buttress. Oh, I think it is probably moving. It's probably growing. If you let it keep growing, it's going to grow and it's going to push up this way, and it's going to take that bulb that's like that and it's going to push it up here, and it's going to stabilize your whole hoof wall. So right now what you're doing is you have to let this grow, and you have to let it get longer. All this from here into here, and it's going to grow up this way, and it's going to push that up. See there? Now it's not that way right now. I'll show you what it's like. Now remember, the periopal stretches to cover up the heel of the hoof capsule that has been trimmed out. Right now, this heel kind of goes like this. You don't have any real strong, solid heel buttress. But what's going to happen? It's going to push up. This is going to push up. This is going to grow up this way. And it's going to push all this back up and back to where it's like this. This should come more like that. I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm right on that little part right there. I'm kind of messed up right there. But you see what I mean? This area is going to grow up that way. And then that's going to stabilize the whole hoof capsule. Without those heel buttresses behind, your whole hoof capsule is unstable. These are pillars. Remember, they're shaped like this. And then they're a pillar. Like so. You know, they're solid. They solidify, and, you know, all the weight and everything else is back there. You know, they solidify, they shore up, they support the whole hoof capsule. Frog will move too. Why is that? Because as the heel is trimmed out, the frog is pulled under and forward. So as the whole thing is pushed up, that's going to pull all this back up, and that's going to pull that frog up there too, that frog corium.